Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Dobie, and this evening, I have the honor of talking to a very, very strong young lion by the name of Dustin Clark. He is an artist, a graphic designer. He's got an album out, and he has a challenge called BMD, which is, I want to say it's Becker Muscular Dystrophy, which is a disease or condition that attacks the musculature. And we're going to let Dustin tell us a little bit more about it. He's had it since he was young, and he is here not letting it overwhelm him. He is making it happen. Welcome, Dustin.
Thanks for having me, Jerry. I'm excited, man. It's going to be a good conversation.
Great. All right, so let's just kick it off with the basics, man. From the inside looking out, talk to us about Dustin Clark.
Yeah. So I got Becker Muscular Dystrophy. So it's basically my muscles don't produce a dystrophin called or a protein called dystrophin, and so basically my muscles weaken over time, and it kind of progresses throughout my life. So so that's been a challenge. But I'm a musician, and that's brought me a lot of joy in my life, and I'm a graphic designer. So that's kind of, creativity has been a great outlet for me.
Okay. So like, what was the defining moment for you that brought you into like the graphic design world and then making you decide to do an album?
Yeah. So the graphics, I took a technical school program called multimedia in high school. I went to Pickerington High School North here in Ohio. And basically the program was graphic design, web design, animation, some video and some digital photography. And so as a kid, I used to draw all the time. And I think the aha moment for me was when I could go into a design software and just click and drag out a rectangle. Because drawing a rectangle is harder than just clicking and dragging one out. So I think that was when I went, I think graphics is something, something I could enjoy, and I think I had a knack for it. And then the music thing, kind of right around the same time, high school. I grew up listening to a lot of music. My parents were musical. My dad was the music pastor at my church. Did that for a bunch of years. So so there's always music around and stuff. And my dad wrote songs, my brother wrote songs, my mom wrote some songs. So I think I just got interested in songwriting from a pretty young age. And so junior year, I started recording some music. It was a long time coming, but I finally got my album out in 2021. So it's been a journey, but here I am.
Okay, so the album was called Here. It dropped in 2021, and then you also had a dope single called Rinse and Repeat. But let's talk about the album. You put it all together yourself, and how did that work out?
Yeah. So my dad bought me an electric guitar right around sophomore year of high school, and so I just started recording some riffs and stuff. And I got Cubase recording software and started doing some stuff. And so I started recording back in 2011 for this album.
Okay.
And it was kind of it took a long time to sort of find the motivation to finish the thing, but I guess I've always been a fan of albums. I grew up with a lot of like prog albums and like concept albums where there's a storyline and all that. I just always liked the idea of an album rather than just a few songs. I wanted to make something cohesive. I hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah. So you started playing guitar. So here I am at 59, right? And I just picked up the electric guitar. I decided I'm going to do something with my fingers, and it's been a challenge. for me at my age, and how with, you know, the extra struggle that you have, were you able to master this?
Yeah, I think I think I think my, how do I want to say this?
Plainly.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you know, I've always been, you know, my fingers have been limited to what I could play. But I think I always liked like kind of creative music, sort of progressive or art rock or just kind of underground type of stuff. So I guess I already liked thinking outside the box. So I wasn't trying to learn chords or something. I would just kind of play around, and it was largely experimental. And I was listening to like Deftones and Tool, stuff like that. And so you know, it's sort of rhythmically maybe complex, but like as far, you know, it's not as difficult as some other music. So anyway, so yeah, I just had a way of, you know, utilizing open strings and like finding sort of shortcuts. And I think Deftones, that guy's really good at writing super simple riffs that are really cool.
Okay.
But then also through the power of DAWs, you know, the program I had, I could edit stuff together. So that was, you know, if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be making music at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just through, you know, enough takes and chopping up the riff into different pieces and stuff, I could sort of piece it together and make something I was proud of. So yeah, it was, you know, it took a lot of creativity, I think.
It's a good piece of work. I liked it.
Thank you.
I'm usually not into the more slow movements, but I saw the nuances that you put in there, and I'm like, wow, this dude is really creative. It's pretty amazing. So 10 years in the making, it was definitely worth it. I enjoyed the entire album. So thank you very much for your intestinal fortitude and making it happen, bro. So very special piece of work that you've done. 40 years of Shamrock with the MDA, you got picked to be the graphic designer for the artwork for the Shamrock campaign. Talk to me about getting picked for that and what went into it.
Yeah. So it's been kind of cool. Like my music and my design have sort of fueled each other and you know, mixed in with each other. A buddy of mine, Brandon Abbott, he directed a short film about my music and my album and my sort of creative process. It was called Dustin Clark, The Humanity and Who We Are.
Okay.
And so we had pitched it to some film festivals, and one of those film festivals was a rare disease film festival. And so I believe someone from MDA had seen the film, and they were looking for a graphic designer at the time. And so it just sort of happened. Kind of fell in my lap, and so they reached out, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally interested, because you know, I've always wanted to do something that mattered with my design rather than just make things that look cute or pretty or whatever.
Right.
Like I want to, you know, deliver messages that I believe in. So that's how I started with MDA, and this Shamrocks campaign. That's kind of been my first big project with them. I designed some other pieces for this project, and then this T-shirt design was kind of the culmination of the project. And so it's a fundraiser that's been around for 40 years, and it's contributed a lot to the disabled community. MDA's big thing is research, care, and advocacy. So this campaign has raised millions of dollars over the years, and that's kind of directly benefited me as someone with Becker MD. Just the fundraising that has gone to all those things has contributed to my community in a big way, and I'm over at Nationwide Children's, and even though I'm not a child anymore,
That's
but,
okay.
but they kept me there because my doctor, Kevin Flanagan, is one of the biggest like muscular dystrophy researchers in the world. So it's just, I'm blessed to be where I am. And NDA has been a huge blessing. So yeah, so this project means a lot to me.
Well, you're a blessing to all of us, man. So I can't imagine the struggles, coming up as a young child. One minute you're running and playing, the next minute you're falling down in the hallways in school. It's quite the shock. And then you're a creative on top of that. So certainly it must have challenged you mentally more than normal. How did you work your way through the different phases as the disease was affecting you, and how have you maintained such a great attitude and your motivation?
Yeah, it was difficult. I had a tough time in middle school and junior high and high school where, I had this disease and I didn't really, I didn't know exactly how to cope. So I sort of became a loner and kind of retreated inward, and kind of just stuck to myself. But my adult has been kind of unraveling that a little bit, sort of figuring out, finding myself again and being okay with myself. I think creativity was a huge, I think being a creative has been a gift in that way. Because I think disabled life is just creative in general. Because you sort of have to, the world isn't really built for you. So you're kind of having to make your own way through it. And that takes a lot of creativity, even just solving little problems like how do I get my microwave open, or how do I do this, how do I do that? And so I think being gifted as a creative, that's something that made sense to me. And that's something that that's been a great tool for me. But I would say, with the album, that album represents, it's really meaningful to me because it represents, I proved to myself I could finish something. So I think I struggled with motivation, because I was just dealing with a disability and
Right.
I didn't know what to do and all that. So, this album, my dad was a big influence to sort of get the ball rolling, because I just sort of agonized over the parts for a lot of years, and I had already recorded, I rewrote the lyrics, a couple of times, and I was just kind of, dilly-dallying. And then my dad was like, hey man, let's sit down and write down everything that you need to do to complete this album. And let's just get it done. So, for me and my personality, that's a big thing, is that I need cheerleaders in my life. So my dad was really, he sort of unlocked in me this motivation, and I found that I could complete something if I stuck with it and stuck to my, schedule and everything like that. So yeah, getting that album out meant a lot. It was like, oh, okay, I can accomplish the things I want to accomplish. And so kind of ever since, I found a motivation, and I found a work ethic, and it just keeps getting better.
I look at your story and I compare with these whiny ass kids nowadays who are so busy living in their video game world that they aren't able to deal with reality and real problems. And I look at your dedication to your craft, both of them, as a designer, graphic designer, and as a musician. And then as a man saying, I'm not going to be beaten. It's very inspirational, you know. And I just wish that more people exhibited that kind of intestinal fortitude and stick-to-itiveness. It's frustrating, but you're like a beacon of light. It's like it can be done. And it's not to showcase you necessarily as as any kind of symbol, but it's to say, hey, there are people out there that want to get things done. They mentally motivate themselves and they accomplish things despite the difficulties. And, here we have Dustin Clark, who's being physically attacked, by something that we've been studying for decades. And he said, this is not going to beat me. I'm going to make it happen regardless. So salute to you, my dude. I really,
Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, bro. Look, this is very serious that we educate people about, muscular dystrophy, both. What is the other one is Duchenne's. And then we have Becker, which Becker is the lighter version. Is that what I'm to understand?
Yeah. So Becker and Duchenne are kind of the more, probably the more common ones. MDA also covers ALS.
Okay.
So that's another, big part. But yeah, there are several other dystrophies as well. But yeah, Duchenne is like the deadliest one. So a lot of people don't live past their 20s, as far as I understand it. So that's where a lot of the research goes. And the rest of the dystrophies, we get to kind of benefit from that. But yeah, so that's where a lot of the research is. And so yeah, I've got Becker, and it's kind of the milder one. So I'm lucky in a way. It's all relative, man. It's like I got my difficulties, but someone else has harder difficulties than I do. But yeah, that's.
So at this stage, if I can ask, and if you're uncomfortable with anything that I ask, please say so right away. Are you still able to are you still mobile? How do you function? What is your day-to-day like in dealing with this disease?
Yeah. So I've been in a wheelchair since sophomore year of high school. And yeah, so that's a big thing. I would say, like, my disease sort of, my strength declines pretty slowly.
Okay.
Which is kind of a blessing in a way. So I don't, I don't like lose a bunch of mobility, within a year or something. But yeah, my a big part of being disabled too is just maintaining your body, man. You got to go, your doctor's appointments, and all sorts of things like that. I my hands, that's kind of my main mode is using my arms for things.
Okay.
And my hands kind of, they're called contractures, where I would show you, but I can't right now. But like where your hands will kind of claw or whatever, kind of. So yeah, you have to stretch a lot. But yeah, so there's always something. There's always something new that I have to deal with. But
life is never boring. Okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's a lot of creativity again, man. With my video games, I couldn't use the Xbox controller anymore, so now I use a keyboard and mouse.
Okay.
I'm always buying new mouses, new equipment, new stuff to kind of keep up with it. But it's a lot of maintenance, and yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes.
I can understand. What's your game, man, that you play? What is it? Are you a Warcraft guy, or what do you do?
Yeah, it's been kind of I'm finally up to date with the newer games. I've always been behind, but I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I just got Divinity Original Sin 2,
Okay.
which is like an RPG. It's turn-based, super nerdy. Love it.
Look, I used to play a computerized version of Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
called Legends of Kesmon. And
Okay.
only somebody who's like really into computer games
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
would know about it. And then Doom. Doom
Dude.
was like my freaking favorite game ever. It was very basic. It was my speed. You know what I mean? So I love it. I'm looking at this reindeer in the background. Is that one of yours?
No, I wish. Yeah, it's a local guy. He paints his. There's another one that's it's a lemur in a suit.
Okay.
But it's like the painting's like 5 feet tall. I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, maybe someday. Not yet.
It's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
So, what's the most important thing that you feel we should know about Dustin Clark?
Wow, that's a heavy question. You know, I guess I'd like to be known as a creative. I think that's a big part of my personality. And let's see. I don't know. I guess I want to be known as someone that struggles, but tries, and I don't know. That's sort of a big question. I'm having a hard time.
I would, from the outside looking in, I would say that one of the most important things about Dustin Clark to highlight is that he's not someone who gives up, who uses his creative juices as a way to engage with the world and leave something of a legacy as a creative. You know what I mean? Kind of like Prince struggled to leave something that was authentically Prince. You know what I mean? And not owned by Atlantic Records, and determined by the bean counters and the suits as to what he could create and deliver. You know, he was at his freest when he finally got out of his contract, got his name back, and he made some incredible music, you know, in the latter stages of his career. I liken you to that in that you are determined to present Dustin Clark in a clear, authentic way and not under any pretense. You know, I'm a guy who struggles, but I'm a man who creates, and I bring some value. And you said that very well with Here, you know, the album. And I just, that's my thoughts from the outside looking in.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say authenticity is a big thing for me, man. I never want to do something I don't believe in. So I'd say that's definitely a theme with the music and the design is that, with my design, I want to use it to project messages that the world needs to hear, and I don't ever want to compromise on that. And my music is I make the music I want to make. I'm not interested in pleasing anybody with my music. So,
Yeah.
but it's cool that it speaks to people, man. I gotta just express who I am and hope that someone can, identify with that and get something out of it.
Yeah, I know that they can relate, you know. Certainly, I had to sit down and cleared my calendar so I could listen to the album. And I was like, okay, the first song was a little slow start for me, bro. It was a little slow start. It was a build up.
Yeah, a little post rock maybe.
yeah. But I was like, okay. But then I started listening to it as if I was listening to an orchestra.
Mm.
And started picking apart and noticing all the decorative pieces that were there that tied so very well together. And you just did a great job with it. And I'm only sorry that, you're not in the position to create faster.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm working on a new project.
Really?
I'm trying to get it out next year.
Okay.
So, man, 2 years is so much better than 10 years, man. It feels so much more like it's so current and so me right now. So
But you're more accomplished technically as well. Now you know how to put together a dang on album. And
right.
so you do all your writing, you do all your production yourself, right?
Actually, I leave the engineering to the experts because I'm no
Right.
engineer, man. I'm a songwriter, I'm an
Mhm.
arranger, but
Okay.
yeah. So I actually ended up getting a guy from Italy, Riccardo Piscini.
Okay.
I just found him on soundbetter.com. And he had done a really great like post metal album that I loved, and I just happened to find the guy. I was like, whoa, what a coincidence. So yeah, he did a great job. He made it. He took it to the next level, I'd say, with the production.
Mm. I neglected to ask you, what's the most fun for you about what you do?
The most fun. What's the question?
What's the most fun for you about what you do between the design and making music?
Yeah, the music. It's really the process. Creating it is the most fun part.
Okay.
Um, I almost get more out of making it than getting the thing out. Once it's out, I'm like, oh, it's on to the next project.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just enjoy creating and getting creative and just getting in there and doing the work.
Okay.
But then design, I think design is way more, I consider music like my passion, my hobby, but design is more my profession.
Okay.
And I would say that that's way more in service of others. That's sort of what I came up with learning in design school, is that my art is for somebody else. So for me, it's just the joy of it is also the process again,
Okay.
but it's finding something that somebody loves, working with someone and collaborating together to find something that solves the problem and that we both love is really special. So that I get a lot out of that.
Okay. So you're the guy who wants to have all the components laid out on the table and put them together. You have more fun making it work and put it
Sure.
together than
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
listening to the radio after it's running. That's
Yeah.
that's wild for me. That's wild for me. Man, is there anything that you wanted to cover that I may have neglected, Dustin?
Yeah, I just want to plug the Shamrocks campaign. Basically the Shamrocks campaign. There's a bunch, thousands of retailers around the U.S. Are you can purchase these pinups, these Shamrock pinups, at the cashier, and basically you buy one of those. It donates to MDA, and then they put your Shamrock up on the wall,
Okay.
and so getting to work with all the imagery of this project. I get to see all the employees with all their Shamrock collections up on the wall, and I get to see families that are, you know, kids with muscular dystrophy and their families and all of that. It's just really special, and you can visually see the impact of MDA. And you can also purchase the shirt online. If you go to mda.org, it's the front page. And so throughout the month of March, the Shamrocks campaign is going, and you know, you can donate anytime at mda.org, but this is a cool time to get involved.
I'm buying the shirt tonight. So
Do it,
I,
man.
I'm definitely going to do it. And I'll be thinking about you, man. I would love to have you back anytime that you might have something that you want to discuss, man, and share with our audience. I got a nice audience, 1.4 million people that would love to keep up with you and make certain that you get your message out. It's important to me. And I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Jerry. This has been really cool.
My brother Dustin Clark. Go get the album on Spotify right now. It's called Here. And it's amazing. It was done in 2021, but this brother deserves a listen. You know what I mean? And then Rinse and Repeat is the single that he picked from it. And it's an exciting journey. It's no skips for me, bro. It's no skips for me. It's time to chill out, make some time for yourself, get introspective with it, have a glass of wine, and just enjoy the nuances that he delivered in this project. Also, go check him out Let's give them your social media because you got some nice designs on your Instagram, and we should let people see them.
Yeah. So you can find my design stuff and my music stuff on Instagram. Dustin Clark Designs, Dustin Clark Music. Yeah, man, check it out. It's and also on Spotify. My artist name is Black Birch. The album's called Here. Check it out, and pretty soon there's going to be a new release. So look out for that.
I'm looking out for it, man. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again. You're welcome. Shut up. I'm talking to Dustin. Anyway, all right. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Dustin Clark. Go get educated on Becker Muscular Dystrophy. Donate to the MDA. It's definitely a worthy association. And check out his artwork. Go buy a t-shirt and check out this man's artwork. He is a part of the 40th anniversary, 40 years of the Shamrock campaign on MDA. So MDA.org. It's simple to get to it. Go support. And we'll talk to you again soon. Peace.
Amen.